Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Our Tuesday evening Bhagavad Gita class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarin Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome everyone in our Tuesday evening class. So last time we were discussing chapter 2, text 7 through 10. So text 7 of second chapter is where Arjuna finally surrenders to Krishna and asks for guidance. Karpanya dosho upahata sabhava. I have overcome by my miserly weakness. I have lost all my composure, all my swabhava, my nature. I don't know what is best for me. Please instruct me. Please guide me. I am a soul surrendered unto you. I am your disciple. So we discussed that verse in detail and how Arjuna did one thing right was to surrender to Krishna, to approach a spiritual authority. Intelligence is to do something when we don't know what to do, right? So he approached Krishna directly and asking him for guidance. Now, as soon as Krishna took this role, as Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna started chastising Arjuna. That was the first thing Krishna did. He immediately took the role of a guru and he started telling Arjuna. What did he tell Arjuna? The first thing was he is indirectly he's chastising Arjuna that you are speaking like a learned person. You are giving all these different logics and reasoning why I should not fight, why I should not engage in this war. Even though you are speaking like a person of wisdom, you are lamenting for something which is not worth of lamentation. So even though you are speaking like a learned person, like a pandita, but in reality, you are a fool, you are a murkha. So text number 11, Krishna speaks the first verse which Krishna is speaking to Arjuna now. So it again starts with Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, because Krishna is now going to start. Ashochayan Shocastvam Pragyavadamscha Bhashase Gatasuna Gatasuncha Nanu Shochanti Pandita. Ashochayan Anvashocastvam. So while speaking like a man of wisdom, Pragyavadamscha Bhashase, even though you are speaking like a person of intelligence, Pragya means intelligence, knowledge. So you are mourning for something which is not worthy of grief. Gatasuna Gatasuncha Nanu Shochanti Pandita, because a wise person, a Pandita, he does not lament either for the living or for the dead. So generally that's our problem also. Sometimes we think ourselves to be very learned person, oh, I know a lot. But in reality, we don't have that right understanding. Our consciousness is contaminated because of this material influence. But we think ourselves to be very learned. So Krishna is not just speaking to Arjuna, but through Arjuna, Krishna is telling all of us that you are fool number one. Don't think that you know a lot. So Krishna immediately took the role of a guru and started chastising, indirectly calling Arjuna as fool. Because we think we have a lot of knowledge, we have a lot of education, we have a lot of degrees. But real education is not just meant for verbalization, but the real purpose of education is for transformation. Right? It's not just meant for information. Education means which bring transformation. So by education, we know what emotions are real and what are illusory. We should be able to differentiate between that. And education should be something which lead to transformation and should free us from this bodily concept of life. That is the real purpose of education. So here Krishna is telling, don't lament for anything in this world, because these things will come and go. Gata soon, agata soonscha. So not lamenting for something which is not worthy of lamentation. Today you may have something, tomorrow you will lose that something. But if we start crying for everything, then we are completely bound in this world. Don't start crying. You don't have to fight every battle that comes your way. So sometime you may lose money. Don't lament for that. Sometime people may disrespect you. Don't lament for that. Earlier, there may be somebody who is giving you a lot of respect, and now same respect is not offered. But people in this world, if they are not able to understand this particular concept, this particular point, then people keep lamenting about that. People are not able to handle these situations. And when they are not able to handle these situations, then what happened? They get into so much of depression. They cut themselves off from the world. Many people go to the extent of committing suicide. We see in this world so many cases like that. Either somebody lost some money, they had a loss either in their property, in their business, or they lost their reputation. Somebody is not offering that same respect what they were getting from society, and people are not able to tolerate, they're not able to handle that situation, and they commit suicide also. There are so many cases like that. Like in COVID, during COVID time, there were so many cases of suicide which increased for business people. Earlier we know in India, there are a lot of cases of farmers committing suicide because they are not able to protect their land. They are not able to take care of all the expenses, all the bills, and they are so much burdened with the debts, and they ultimately commit suicide. But in COVID time, the number of suicide cases among business people had surpassed those suicide cases among farmers. In India, there are so many. It was reported actually in India, almost more than 11,000 cases of such suicide happened during COVID time. And in other parts of the world also, many such cases happened. In America, there is a famous restaurant, right? The Texas Roadhouse. The founder of the Texas Roadhouse, Kent Taylor, he also committed suicide because of the loss he acquired in this business. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that these situations will come. We may gain sometime, we may lose sometime. It could be the gain of wealth, it could be the loss of wealth, it could be the gain of praise, reputation, it could be the loss of reputation. So don't get disturbed in all that situation, because not all the days are same. Sab din hot na ek saman. Right? So we should understand it. Again, ties up with our last Saturday's topic also. Jo hari kare so mama hit. Whatever Krishna is doing, it's for my benefit. I may not be able to understand the situation, Whatever is happening may not be good, but it is for my good. So today, person XYZ is with me, right? Let's say in this call, all these devotees are here. So you are all here. Tomorrow, some of you may not be here. Some of you may think that, oh, we don't want to attend the program anymore. We don't want to associate with you anymore. We have our own different routes. So today somebody may be with us, tomorrow that person may not be with us. So Krishna is telling these verses 12 through 15, these 3-4 verses are very wonderful verses, 11 through 15, where Krishna is talking about how to handle the misery, how to handle the pain, and how to handle disrespect. दुख को और अपमान को कैसे सहन करें, how to tolerate these situations. So Krishna said, don't lament for something which is not worthy of lamentation, because all these things are temporary. These are all in temporary nature. So whatever is not worthy for us, why to cry for that? जो हमारे किसी काम का नहीं, उसके लिए रोना नहीं. So there are so many real world scenario how people cut off from the world, cut off from the society, commit suicide also. Recently, there was an incident of Sushant Singh Rajput, right? Who committed suicide for a certain reason, and there was a whole news coming. Is it a suicide or it's a murder? So ultimately, basically, the person, he committed suicide because of whatever um, loss of reputation, or he's not able to achieve what he want to achieve. And in the past history also, there are so many cases like that. Either the business people or the Hollywood Bollywood star, they commit suicide, or they are not able to handle the loss of reputation. Another one example is, let's say, Rajesh Khanna, right? You may be familiar. I'm giving some material examples here just to make that point, how people in this world, when they're not able to handle this situation, how they torture themselves. So Rajesh Khanna, actually, he was the first one to get the title of superstar. But later on, Amitabh Bachchan, he went ahead of him. He became super famous, and Rajesh Khanna, he was not getting enough fame, enough movies. His movies flopped or something. And ultimately, what happened? He became addicted to drinking, and his got diseased also, and ultimately he died. Like that, there are so many stars like that who are not able to tolerate the loss of fame. It's not loss of fame, basically. It's that earlier they were getting a lot of fame, now they are not getting that fame. So we need to understand this point to handle this world situations. Both type of situation will come. Sometimes there will be happiness, sometimes there will be distress. And Krishna is going to speak more on this particular topic in text number 14 also. So as we move forward, we'll discuss that. So what is real knowledge? Real knowledge is to understand who we are, what is our purpose in this world. So that is the purpose of real education, which brings transformation. If all these people who had committed suicide either because of loss of reputation or loss of their business, if they had read Bhagavad Gita, actually they could have been saved from committing suicide. Bhagavad Gita is such a book, it's such a scripture which provides a real direction to people. If we distribute books, right, there are devotees who go and distribute books, and there are so many cases reported. Somebody reports that I was going to commit suicide, and I got this Bhagavad Gita, I read that, and I gave up the idea of committing suicide. So devotees distribute books, and there are devotees who go to the different hotels, motels, and they give Bhagavad Gita there to keep in the motel rooms. Once a devotee went and he gave so many books that, okay, please keep these books in all your rooms. So in the motel, all this Bhagavad Gita, in the rooms, there are drawers, right? They keep Bible. So they kept Bhagavad Gita also. Now this person, one person checked into the room, and he went. Actually, he had gone there for the intention of committing suicide. that I will end my life. But just before that, before committing suicide, he and checked the drawer of the cabinet. He found this Bhagavad Gita, just opened the pages and started reading. In the second chapter itself, right in the beginning, Krishna is giving this knowledge, who we are, and all these wonderful verses of how to tolerate the situations of this world. And that person gave up the idea of committing suicide. He actually admitted that to the receptionist, to the hotel manager, that I had checked in to commit suicide, but I got this Bhagavad Gita and it saved my life. So that is the power of Bhagavad Gita, the real education. Prabhupada once asked one scholarly person, right? In India, we know there are three Vedis, there are Chaturvedis. So Trivedi is somebody who is scholar of three Vedas. Chaturvedi is somebody who's scholar of all four Vedas. So Prabhupada asked one scholarly person, some Chaturvedi, that you know all the mantras of the Vedas. Please tell me who is God, who is the supreme God. And these Chaturvedis, they could not answer the question. They said, Swamiji, this is a matter of in-depth discussion. Who is the supreme God? How can we just tell in 1 minute one answer like that? Then Prabhupada called one small little girl, Saraswati. This Saraswati happens to be the daughter of Malti Mataji, who is in New Vrindavan, right, our GBC. So Prabhupada called this little girl Saraswati that time and asked him, who is God? And she said, Prabhupada, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada became very happy, gave one cookie and told, see, even a little girl knows who is the supreme personality of Godhead. And these Chaturvedis, who are supposed to be the scholars of all the Vedas, they are not able to answer that question. So another point to note here is Krishna is chastising Arjuna because Krishna took the role of Guru and Arjuna is in the role of a disciple. And Arjuna is happily listening to Krishna now. He's accepting even the chastisement of Krishna also. So that is an important point to understand. Accepting the chastisements of Guru also, or our senior Vaishnava, senior devotee, sometimes they may chastise us. Sometimes they may point to our faults, our mistakes also. So one should be very humble to accept sometimes the harsh words, or they are pointing to our mistakes, thinking that I was doing something wrong in my service. So they have very kindly guided me to do it in a right way. So that is the quality of humility. One need to develop this quality of humility so we can continue to progress in spiritual life. Otherwise, what happens is sometimes some senior devotee tells us something and we become very upset about that and we say, no, I don't want to stay here anymore. I don't like this person, or I don't like this process, or I don't like this movement. And they just again drift away from the process. We'll go somewhere else, we'll find somewhere else. So here, the point Krishna is making, we have to admit one point, that right now we are not the learned ones. We may think ourselves to be learned, that we know a lot, but in reality, we don't know anything yet. There is a lot to learn for us. So in the next verse, what does Krishna speak now? Krishna start from text number 12 onwards, Krishna start giving the concept of soul, Atma, that every living entity is spirit soul, eternal in nature. There is no death to the soul. Even though there is a death to the body, this body perishes, the soul continues to live. So text number 12 to text number 30, these set of verses are talking about our real identity. Natvevaham jatunasham natvam neme janadhipah nachaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayamatah param. So Krishna is saying, never was there a time when I did not exist, or you did not exist, or all these kings who have assembled on this warfield, they did not exist. And nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So here Krishna is saying, we all have been existing in the past, we are existing in the present, and will continue to exist in the future also. So in this particular verse, Krishna is pointing out two very important principles. What is that? One is we are all eternal. Because the body gets old and body dies, so Krishna is not talking about the body. He is talking about our identity as the spiritual beings. Okay, so Krishna is emphasizing on the eternity of personality. So one principle is we are all eternal in nature. The second principle is we all are individual and we have our personality, personal forms. Here Krishna is also putting himself along with the other living entities in the same category, that we are all spiritual beings. But one should be very careful not to mistaken that Krishna and we are all on the same platform. Even though Krishna is saying, yes, we are all spiritual beings, but still there is a difference. We are equal to Krishna as being Satchit Anand. We are also eternal. Krishna is eternal. We are also in knowledge. Krishna is full in knowledge. So in that way, we are having the same nature, same qualities, but still there is a difference. In quantity, we are minute, like a gold particle and gold mine. The gold particle is obtained from the gold mine. It's same as a remaining bulk of gold there, but this gold particle is minute in nature. We have given the example of water drop and the whole vast body of water in the ocean. Water drop also has same chemical composition, it has same characteristics, same quality, but the quantity is different. So nitya nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidhati kaman. So this is a very important verse actually. So it talk about that we are at no point of time that we give up our individuality or we give up our personality. We are all eternally individual person. It's not that we are just temporary manifestation of Brahman who is under illusion. And when we come out of that illusion, we will realize that yes, we are all Brahman, and then we merge into Brahman and we just lose our individuality. So it's not like that. So we have talked about this principle earlier also. So I don't want to spend too much time on this particular principle, that we are all eternal beings. We are all individual. No point of time we give up our individuality. There are certain people who are more interested into Brahman. They want to just merge into Brahman and they think once we merge into Brahman, our individuality is gone, then we become one. That merging into the Brahman is one type of liberation which is considered as the lowest type of liberation, right? That is called Sayujya Mukti. Merging into the Brahman is like we all enter into the aura which is emanating from the personal form of Krishna. That is merging into the Brahman. That's called impersonal liberation. But it doesn't mean at that point of time also that we give up our individuality. So Krishna is establishing a very important point here. We all existed in past. We are existing in present, and we will continue to exist in the future also. And then 2.13, Krishna goes forward again, establishing this principle, this concept of soul and the difference between the soul and the body. Dehino asmin yatha dehe Komaram yovanam jara tatha dehantarah praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. So here Krishna is saying, as the embodied being, right, as the embodied soul, it continuously passes within this body. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. So the dehi, which is residing within this deha. Deha means body. Dehi means somebody who is residing in this deha, in this body. So as the embodied soul passes within this body from Komaram Yovanam Jara, from boyhood to youth to old age. Similarly, at the end of this body, Dehantarah Praptir. Deh Ant. So when this body is finished, then the soul moves into another body. Dhiras tatrana muhyati. And a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Na muhyati. So, sober person is somebody who is in real knowledge, who understand the difference between the body and the soul, who has that right understanding, right education. It's not somebody considered sober who, after drinking 5 wine bottles, also is able to maintain his consciousness. That's not the purpose of being a sober person, right? That somebody who is still in bodily concept after being intoxicated. But somebody becoming free from that intoxication of this material concept of life. When somebody is free from this intoxication of thinking himself to be the body, that person is considered as a sober person. And Krishna has not used the word Atma here yet. Right? He is using the word Deha and Dehi. Why? Because Arjuna was speaking from the bodily concept. That, oh, I will kill all these relatives, my friends, then I have to suffer sinful reaction. We will not be able to live happily in their absence. So Arjuna was speaking from the bodily concept of life. So Krishna is also still using the words which are related to body, Deha and Dehi. So Krishna is saying we are not this Deha. We are something who is living inside this Deha, who has occupied this Deha, this body. And somebody may say, right, who is really the Dehi? In this body, there are millions of bacteria living. So who is really the Dehi? But we have to understand there is only one Dehi for this body, who is the real owner of this body. There may be many other bacteria and germ living. They are also living creatures. So they are also occupying this body, but they are not the tenants of this body. There is only one person who is the owner of this body. For example, in a house, right, you are the owner of your particular house or your particular apartment. You are the tenant of that apartment. Now inside that house or apartment, there may be many cockroaches living, some spiders living, some rats also may enter into that house. Now, who is the owner of that house? Can all these spiders and mosquitoes and cockroaches, they start claiming that, oh, we are the owner of this house, we are the Dehi? No, ultimately, the person, one person, he is the owner, even though all these person may try to come and live inside that house, but there is only one particular house, one particular owner of that house. So the embodied being which is occupying this body, we see this body is continuously changing. Earlier we were a small child, then we grew up to being a youth one, now we are growing up, getting to the older age. So this body is continuously changing, but the embodied being, the soul living inside this body, is still the same. We may still remember all our those childhood memories also. Many of our those memories are also there. So there are always this reincarnation happening within this body also, right? So there are two type of incarnations. One is internal reincarnation, and then finally the second one is external reincarnation. So internal reincarnation means, the incarnation means, first of all, to come in flesh, and reincarnation means to come again and again in flesh. So we are coming again and again in this material world, acquiring different bodies. So that process is called reincarnation. We are coming again and again and accepting a material body. So now internal reincarnation and external reincarnation, what does that mean? Internally also things are changing. All the cells in our body are changing. Even the science says after 7 years, all the cells of the body have changed. Right? There is no cell which is same what it used to be 7 years before. So this is internal reincarnation which is happening. Our body is continuously changing, but the person who is occupying this body still remains the same. We may not see all those bodily changes on daily basis, But after long period of time, we can see the difference, right? Example of a child growing up. And when you see somebody after long time, after 5 years, 10 years, and you tell that person, hey, you have changed a lot. You used to be like this. Now you are like this, right? So we say like that. It means the body changes we may not be able to see on daily basis. When the child is daily living with you, we may not observe those changes in the child on a regular basis. But somebody, when they see the child after a long time, the other person will see, oh, he has changed so much. He has grown up so much. He is so tall now. So these are the changes which are happening constantly. And then finally, the ultimate change, the external reincarnation, is when this body dies. And there's a full stop to this body, but the person who is living inside the body, the dehi, it moves on to another body. Tatha dehantarah praptir dhiras tatrana muhyati. And a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So we should understand that. And in Prabhupada actually kept his lectures very basic. He kept his lecture grounded to this fundamental concept: we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. He will tell this point so many times in his lectures, in his talks. And sometimes the disciples started thinking, Swamiji is speaking about this, I am not the body, I am the spirit soul, I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. So they're thinking, yes, Swamiji is not the body, he is the spirit soul, but maybe we are the body. So we may pose sometime that yes, we are understanding this concept between difference of the body and soul, but we continue to act on bodily platform, right? It happens that we continue still on bodily platform. And another important point to understand in this verse is Krishna is explaining with the help of example, with the help of analogy. Here Krishna is giving the example of a body. As the body is going from the childhood to youth to old age, the soul goes into another body. So he is trying to explain with the analogy. And later on also Krishna gives another analogy in later verses, text number 20, 22, giving the example of old and new garments. As the child gives up the old garments and put on a new garment, same way the soul gives up the old body and accepts a new body. So Krishna explained with the help of analogy here, so that we can understand that concept very clearly. Because the Upanishads, what happens in Vedas and Upanishads, they talk more only at the level of principles. And the Puranas, they explain the principles with examples. So here Krishna is explaining this point as a principle here with just a simple analogy. But the Puranas explain these principles with the nice examples and stories. So we can relate to that and we can understand that concept, and we can get inspiration also through the medium of those stories. So the purpose of the stories is to make the principles understandable and to give some practical encouragement also, that yes, somebody else did this, so I can also do this. For example, the pastime of Chitraketu Maharaj. Right? So in the pastime of Chitraketu Maharaj, it explains through the medium of this whole story. Earlier, Chitraketu Maharaj was so much under lamentation because he did not had a son. And when Narad Muni, Angira Muni visited him, he asked for the boon, please bless me with a son. So Angira Muni blessed him that, okay, you will get a son, but that son will become the cause of your lamentation also, and he will become the cause of your joy also. So you name him Harsha Shok. He will be the cause of your happiness, Harsh, and he will the cause of your lamentation also, distress also, Shok. And as this child was growing up, he was still a small child, 3-4 year old, and the queen which gave birth to this child, the king was spending most time with that queen. And Chitraketu had so many other wives also. All those wives, they become envious of this particular queen, because king is now spending most time with her and the child, and neglecting or ignoring other wives. So they became envious and they planned to murder that child. Right? So they plotted against that. They gave him poison and the child died. And king was lamenting. Again, Angira Muni came there, and seeing king's lamentation, he brought the child back to life. And the child started speaking to Maharaj Chitraketu. He started speaking about this concept of soul and reincarnation. King was saying, I am your father, you are my son, where did you go? And the child started speaking, which father, which son? You are my father from which lifetime? I had many, many fathers earlier. So you are my father from which lifetime? So the child, when he started speaking this philosophy, then Maharaj Chitraketu came out of his lamentation and his distress. So through the medium of this story, again, it is explaining this concept of the soul and reincarnation. So Puranas help us to understand that with the help of example. Same way the pastime of Ajamila, it's a very wonderful pastime. Right here, this pastime is explaining that somebody who fell into wrong association, because of that wrong association, he gave up all his religious practice. But ultimately, at the end of his life, because he was able to chant the holy name, he called out the name of Narayana, even though he was trying to address his son who was named Narayana. But because he chanted the name of Narayana, he was saved from the Yamadutas. So this is a long pastime. Why I'm just mentioning that here briefly, through this pastime of Ajamila also, it explains a very important principle that wrong association is very bad. It can destroy all our religious practice. It can contaminate our consciousness completely. But also it emphasizes on the power of holy name. That Ajamila, he was such a sinful person, but he chanted the holy name, he was protected. So I can also do that. I also have hope. I should give up the wrong association and to take to the chanting of the holy name. That is my only shelter. That is my only refuge. So with these very wonderful pastime stories, it explains these principles in a very subtle way and gives us inspiration, encouragement, how we can also practice and progress. So in this particular verse, Krishna is explaining the concept of soul, our real identity, that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. This body is continuously changing. Ultimately, it will come to an end. But with the end of the body, we do not die. We do not finish. We continue. We acquire another body. And then the text number 14, very, very wonderful verse, very important verse. How to handle, as in the beginning, I said these verses, right? These set of verses, how to tolerate the situation of sadness and infamy और डिसरेस्पेक्ट. अगर हमारे जीवन में दुख है या अपमान है तो उसको कैसे सहन करें, हाउ टू टॉलरेट दो सिचुएशन. सो टेक्स्ट नंबर 14, मात्रः स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदा आगमापायनो नित्यास्तां तितिक्षस्व भारत. ताम तितिक्षस्व, tolerate. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course of time are like the appearance and disappearance of the winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception, ocean of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. All these are because of sense perception. And they are like the summer and winter season. As the summer season comes and go, winter season come and go. Same way in the life, there will be many situations. One may become happy sometime, and at other time he may become distressed. He may be sad. He may gain something. He may lose something. So agama apayano. Agama apayano. Kabhi aayega, kabhi jayega. And this is not permanent. Right? This is not nitya, but it is anitya. It is temporary in nature. So tam titikshasva bharata. So therefore you should try to tolerate these situations. So again, linking with text number 11, right? Text number 11, where Krishna is telling Arjuna, Gatasun agatasuncha, Nanu shochanti pandita. A learned person does not become bewildered. He is not lamenting for something which is not worthy of lamentation. So same here, Krishna is building upon that point that one should try to tolerate all these situations of life. Time never remains the same. Sab din hot na ek saman. So Krishna, first of all, is using this word as matra, right, to express the senses. Matra, sparshas. Matra word sometimes is used as measurement, right? Kitni matra hai iski? So we use the word matra as measurement, and Krishna is using this word matra for senses because our senses are always measuring the quantity of pleasure and pain. Oh, this is a lot of happiness. Oh, this is a lot of suffering, lot of pain. Oh, this is a lot of enjoyment. Oh, this is a lot of pain or suffering in this. So we are always measuring our pains and pleasure in this world. So Krishna is using this word matra, matra sparshas, and he is using one of the sense, right? Touch, sparsha. So matra sparshas tu konteya. Shitoshna sukha dukkha. And Krishna is addressing Arjuna from the bodily designation point of view. Konteya, Bharata. Why? Just now Krishna explained we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. Just after that, now Krishna is again addressing from the bodily point of view, bodily concept. Right? You are the son of Kunti. You are the descendants of Bharata dynasty. So why Krishna is addressing from the bodily designation? Because our consciousness is so much rooted into the body. We are so much rooted into this bodily designation, and by the use of some respectful address, honorable address, people are motivated to do some great work. So we discussed this point also earlier. I'm just briefly repeating that here. So by the use of some respectful address, people can be motivated. So here Krishna is trying to motivate Arjuna to give up his lamentation and understand this concept of non-permanent nature of happiness and distress. So we don't want to pinch the ego or inflate the ego, but utilize this pat the ego. Sometimes you may have to address somebody little bit enough so that they are encouraged to act in a proper way. So don't pinching the ego, don't suppressing the ego, understanding, yes, the person has the need to be recognized. That is a natural need. So giving that little enough recognition for their little work rather than completely suppressing that need. So not pinching the ego, at the same time not doing over flattery, just enough to encourage them, to motivate them. So here earlier, see, we know Prabhupada also used to encourage the people in many different ways. So Prabhupada used to motivate the American devotees or European devotees in many different ways, addressing them. See, you are American, European boys and girls. You have so much opulences, so you should organize a big program. So like that, he will encourage them, utilizing this word of saying that, oh, you belong to such an opulent nation, addressing them as nice American and European boys. And for Indian people also, Prabhupada will use addressing them, see, you belong to such a rich culture, rich heritage, so you should take to this process seriously. So in that way, Prabhupada will utilize their bodily designation to encourage them, to empower them. So same way Krishna here, right? This principle is coming from Krishna only. So Krishna is utilizing this principle to motivate Arjuna. Now, very important point to understand how to tolerate this situation. Tolerance means keeping focus on our priorities and not getting distracted by the inevitable, the temporary happiness and distress, and all the other changes that come in this material world. These will continue to exist. There is no end to that. So let's keep our focus on our priorities. Why I am here, what is my goal, where I am now, what I am doing, and where I want to go. Okay, so focus on these three things, these three questions. Where I am right now, what I am doing, and what is my goal, where am I going. Right now I am in this material world, in this particular condition. What I am doing is I am trying to maintain my family, I am doing my occupation and all. And what is my goal? People can look at that from material point of view, but we need to look at from spiritual point of view. Where I am right now, I am bound in this material world. What I am doing right now, am I still continuing with material existence, material life, or I am taking to this process of spiritual life seriously? And where I want to go, I want to go back to Krishna, to the spiritual world where there is no misery, there is always happiness. So if we know where I am right now, where I want to go along accordingly, then we can gauge our current activity, what I am doing. Am I doing the right thing to achieve that goal where I want to go? So keeping our focus on our priorities and not getting distracted by the inconveniences which come along the way. So Krishna is giving the example here, Shitoshna, Sukha Dukkha, right? Cold and winter and summer season, they come and go. Same way, happiness and distress, they come and go. Example of if there is too much rain sometime, or if there is too much heat sometime in summer, and if the person is just always getting frustrated, oh, why does it rain all the time? Why there is so much rain? Oh, why there is so much heat? Why there is so much temperature? So if we just keep speaking ill about that, right, being always frustrated about that, we are creating bigger karma for ourselves. We are keeping ourselves bound in this world because these things are not in our control. So जो हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं है, if something is not in our control, why to cry about that? We need to do something which is in our control. We need to focus on that activity. We get distracted so quickly by little troubles in life. If there is little sickness, or some project deadline is coming, or some kids activity is there, or some kids routine is there to follow, so we get distracted by so much small things in our life, and we get distracted from the real goal of our life. So in, as I said, 2.11, Krishna talked about not to lament during distress, but here important point is Krishna is going even one step higher, one step beyond that. Not just about distress. Krishna is saying there will be dualities. Not just distress, there may be happiness also.
I want to
tolerate both situations. Kisko? Hare Krishna. Please keep on mute if you're not asking any question or want to say something. So Krishna is going one step higher. In 2.11, Krishna said, in the situation of distress, try to tolerate that. Don't lament for that. In 2.14, Krishna is saying there are dualities. There may be happiness also. So one need to try to tolerate that happiness also. Because what happens when some little happiness comes in our life, we start to jump, right? We get overexcited with that happiness, with that enjoyment. And when there is some little pain, some distress come, then we get so much discouraged and distressed because of that. So खुशी में उछलना नहीं और दुख में फिसलना नहीं. In both situation, Krishna is saying tolerate that situation. The example, how somebody become overjoyed sometime if there is little happiness and they become overjoyed. Ultimately, that is not permanent, right? That's temporary. Once a beggar, he came on the door of a very rich person, a very rich house. This person on weekend, on Sunday, he was in his garden and watering the plants in his garden. So this beggar came on the door and he started glorifying this wealthy person. Sir, you are such a rich person. I'm just a small beggar. I go around all the different houses. I go around all different parts of the city. I have seen all the houses, but this is the best house I have seen. This is the wealthiest house I have seen. So this person became very happy hearing his glorification. And this beggar is telling, see, I have just come on your door to beg for something. Please give me something as per your capacity. Give me something, whatever you can provide to me. So this person, the owner of the house, he was very happy hearing this glorification. He called out to his wife, oh, dear wife, you know that gold necklace that I brought for you? Please bring that. So this beggar became very happy. Oh, gold necklace. I told him that give as per your capacity. So he's calling his wife to give the gold necklace, and he started glorifying again. This formula is working. Let me glorify a little more. So said, you are not just the wealthiest person. This house is not the richest house. Actually, your garden is the most beautiful garden in the whole city. I have never seen such beautiful garden in the whole city. So this person is becoming even happier. He said, see, you remember that not just the gold necklace, but the gold um, bracelets also that I brought. Please bring that also. So this beggar became even more happy that, oh, this formula is really working. Let me say something more. He said, sir, I have seen all the people, the owners of the houses. The house may be rich, the person may be wealthy, but they are not as handsome. So your house is the most beautiful house. Your garden is the most beautiful garden. And you are the most handsome person I have seen. So this person was becoming happy and called out, bring that gold necklace and the gold bracelets and bring some nice food also. So you prepared all these nice foods, the samosas and kachoris and rasgullas. Please bring some food also. So this beggar was becoming very happy. Oh, some nice food, nice meal is also coming. And he is just waiting and waiting. 5 minutes passed by, 10 minutes passed by. And then finally he asked, sir, you called your wife to bring all that. Where is that? I am waiting. So this person said, see, you gave me happiness with your pleasant words. आपने मुझे अपने शब्दों से प्रसन्न किया. I also gave you happiness with my words. I also called इसके लिए वो bring that gold necklace and the bracelets and nice food. So are you happy? Are you satisfied? So the happiness in this world is like that only, right? It is temporary in nature. We get overexcited with certain things which is not even real sometimes. So Krishna is saying not just distress, but try to tolerate both sides of the coin. Sometime it may be happiness, sometime it may be distress. And person who is able to tolerate all these various situations, that person is glorious. Either from the material point of view also if we see, or from the spiritual point of view if we see. The person is only glorious who is able to tolerate all the situation and continue in his life. So that's why in text number 15, Krishna gives the benefit of this tolerance. So what is that one? Again, very important point, very important verse here. Krishna says, oh, best among men, the person who is not disturbed by the happiness and distress and is steady in both the situation is certainly eligible for liberation. Amrit tattvaya sakalpate. That person is eligible for liberation. Now this liberation from spiritual point of view, that ultimately we attain our real destination going back to Krishna, when somebody is equipoised in all the situation among all the dualities. But within this world also, that person becomes glorious. Amrit tattvaya kalpate. See, we can see in this world, only those people are remembered, those people are known for ages to come. right? Who have done some significant contribution. They were not bewildered in all situations, who did not give up during the troubling times also. So any path is not paved always with smooth road. Sometimes the road may be very messy, very broken and muddy. But ultimately, it depends if we are focused on our destination, if we are focused on our goal. We may sometimes have two roads in front of us, right? Two, what you call as the Y sign, right? Y pathway. It divides into two roads. One road may be messy, broken, muddy. Another road is very nice and smooth. But do we always take the road which is nice and smooth? It depends where we want to go. Both roads may not be going to the same destination. So we choose the path which is leading us to our destination. It may not be always a nice and smooth path. So we don't take the pathway, the road, based on its appearance, but based on the destination where we want to go. So Krishna is saying here same thing, very important principle. Don't get distracted by the temporary pleasures and pains of this world. The fruit of tolerance is attaining eternal existence, liberation. Amrit tattvaya kalpate. So we know so many stories I can tell in this world. People who were able to tolerate both situations, either happiness and distress. They did not become overjoyed when there was some happiness in their life, and they did not get distracted, disturbed when there was pain in their life. And those people are remembered now also after they are gone from this world. Right? Example, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs faced so many difficulties in his life. Sometimes there was happiness, he was gaining something, at another time he was losing something. He started a company, Macintosh, and with little success, after some time he was kicked out from his own company. Then he started again. In his childhood, he had so many troubles. He had no food, he was not able to go to college, he was not able to finish his education, but ultimately he became so successful. He tolerated all situations of life, right? He speaks in his own speech, very famous his speech, that I used to walk so many miles to go to a Krishna temple to acquire one decent meal. So ultimately, Steve Jobs built such a big empire. He created iPod, then iPad, then iPhones. And now also, after he is gone more than 10 years, people still remember him, his contributions. So Amrit Tattvaya Sakalpate. Then there are so many other examples, such examples, even movie stars or sports person. Milkha Singh, another example as a sports person, Milkha Singh. Milkha Singh's childhood was also very troublesome. Right? His whole family was actually killed during these India-Pakistan riots and everything. And he was such a poor person, he had no shoes to wear. But ultimately, he is the legend in running in the track games, track and field. And Dhyan Singh, hockey player, his childhood or his life, he also faced so many struggles in life. Sometimes there is happiness, sometimes there is distress. And he's the one who won gold medal 3 times in the Olympics, 1928, 1932, 1936. And he was sometime put so many allegations were put on him that maybe he is doing cheating. His hockey was broken to see if there is a magnet inside his hockey, that how he is able to hit the ball with such a speed and such an accuracy. So, but the person, when they are not disturbed by any of these situations, happiness or distress, in this world also, they are known for their achievements. People still remember them also. Lata Mangeshkar, another legendary. Her life was also very troublesome, right? Towards the last days of her life, she mentioned that there was one small video clip which was going viral. She said, the problems of Lata Mangeshkar, only Lata Mangeshkar knows. So even people may not think, oh, this person is very popular person, they have so much wealth and all, but still they also have problem. They also went through many challenges in their life. So there may be many disturbances in life, many distress situation, and sometimes there are happiness. During happiness, if somebody stay grounded, and during disturbance also, if somebody is able to manage their mindset, that makes a difference. So it's not the skill set that is more important. That's the attitude of the person which is more important. And any successful person, they are not because of their skill set. They are successful because of their attitude. So I gave all these material examples just to make this point. Even if we are in material concept of life, still having that quality of tolerance in all situation, happiness and distress is very important. But for spiritual progress, that's even more so important. Right? We have the example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, he also went through many challenges, many troubles also, many distress situations also. He left Vrindavan, came to the Western world. Here he is trying to preach to all these hippies who are smoking. They are throwing the smoke at his face. His items are also stolen few times. He is cooking for all these hippies and cleaning their utensils also. But ultimately, when he went through all these challenges without getting disturbed, because he was focused on the goal, right? Srila Prabhupada was focused on the goal. And then in a span of 12 years, Srila Prabhupada achieved so big, so much. He established 108 temples. He wrote so many books, gave so many lectures, made more than 10,000 disciples, established such a huge movement which is growing and growing. So Amrit Tattvaya Sakalpate, that person he becomes Amar in this material world also, and he attains to the spiritual world. He goes back to Krishna. If our goal is clear that we want to connect with Krishna, and during the process, no matter how many troubles come, we should not get either attached to our comfort or get so much disturbed by some disturbing situation, some discomforts. So one of the important point from 211, I will end with that here, was tolerating these situations, tolerating these external situations and tolerating the internal situation. So in scriptures, there are two words used: sahanshilta and dhairya, tolerance and patience. We will discuss these 2 points in the next time. I leave all of you with these 2 points. So try to kind of introspect on that. What is the difference between tolerance and patience? Okay, so by yourself, this is maybe as one of your assignment also, understanding the difference between tolerance and patience. And we will discuss that in the next class. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If anybody has any question, comment, we can discuss that next 5-7 minutes.
So, Prabhuji, so two things Krishna is saying, right? One thing is, don't lament about things from a perspective of soul, meaning that the soul continues whatever happens. And then the second thing he's saying is not to lament about things, not to be too happy or too sad, but just be focused on the goal. So those are the two messages that he is giving to Arjuna.
Right. So if we, in the nutshell, in the summary, if we want to understand the real take-home message of these verses, it's Krishna is saying, do not lament for any distressful situation, for any loss. It could be the loss of wealth, it could be the loss of fame, it could be the loss of your near and dear ones. Okay, so in no situation one should lament or get distressed of those situations. And then second one, Krishna is saying, even don't get distracted during happiness also. Right? So not just lament for losses, don't overjoy because of gains also. It could be the gain of wealth, it could be the gain of praise, right? Some respect. It could be the gain of some material worldly things. So in both situations, one should try to tolerate both situation, because people lose their mental balance when they gain also. Somebody got a lottery, right? $1 million lottery. They go crazy. Somebody is not able to tolerate so much happiness also. Happy इतना ज्यादा खुशी हो गया, they get so much happy that they get a heart attack. So both situations are dangerous, especially in our spiritual path, in spiritual life. We need to be careful about both situations. We should not get distracted in both situation and continue our progress in spiritual life.
What about the comment that you made about personality? Your personality is goes on.
Personality means our individuality. In text number 12, where Krishna is saying, Natvevaham Jatu Nasham. So we all were existing in the past, we are all existing in present, we all will continue to exist in future also. So we all, there is never a time when we cease to exist. So in that way, one should keep that point in mind. Let's say our near and dear ones, not over lamenting for somebody's loss, understanding that they continue their journey, right? When somebody dies in the family, our near and dear ones, they leave us, or somebody in our close circle, they leave you, that we don't want to be with you anymore. So we should understand these are all temporary situations. We got these people in our life, now they are gone to a different destination, but they are still continuing their existence in a different form, in a different way. And all we can do is pray for them that they continue their journey towards Krishna.
So in which case, some of their for certain individuals, their personality has to change to continue their journey towards
Personality,
Krishna.
yes, the form has changed, but the person is still existing, right? Our forms have changed.
Correct.
The people who were in our lives as our father, mother, friends, they were in a different form. Now they continue to exist in a different form, but they are still continue to exist. And we should not think that they have ceased to exist. They are still there and in a different form, but we can pray for them that they continue their journey towards Krishna. Krishna gives them right association, right environment where they can come in the right um, education, in the right knowledge, and they take to this process where they can ultimately achieve Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, that is a bit. It was a bit confusing when I first listened to it. When you say that their personality will continue or their journey will continue, but
So
you
basically, the
want
point is we are existing now. Even when we go back to spiritual world, our personality will remain. We will still have a form there also. Yes, that is another my point to say, that the personality still exists in spiritual world also. We have a form, we have a particular form. In that form we are going to serve Krishna there in spiritual world. So we never lose our personality, our form.
yeah, but we should pray for those who don't go to that, who don't go
Right, we
towards
should
Krishna, right?
even though somebody has died and they have not reached to Krishna, we should pray that they achieve a form, achieve a particular position where they can continue towards Krishna.
Yeah.
So that's why when somebody, we hear somebody in news, right, some such and such person has passed away, the best thing to say is we pray to the lordships, we pray to Krishna that they continue their journey towards the lotus feet of Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, anybody?
But Prabhuji, one other quick question is, for those who do not understand that, they may take it in a wrong sense as to why aren't you expressing your grievance and stuff when somebody passes
See,
away, right?
right. So it's not that you don't express your emotions, right? When somebody dies, it's okay to cry, it's okay to express your grievance, but we are not attached to that. You don't stay permanently in that lamentation. Ultimately understanding that yes, that person has gone, he is going to a different position now, he will acquire a different life form, and we pray that he continue. Yes, everybody has emotions because of our closeness to different set of people. We had a relation with them, we had so many memories with them, so those emotions are natural. Even though Krishna spoke this Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and after that during the war, Arjuna's son Abhimanyu was killed, right? He dead, and at that time Arjuna was crying, Arjuna was also having that sadness, that sorrow, and Krishna himself was also crying. So those expressing those emotions are okay because of our relationship with these people. But ultimately, we need to understand that this is not permanent. This is temporary. They also have gone to a new position, new form, new particular place. So having this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita helps us to come out of that sadness, that sorrow quickly. If somebody does not have that knowledge, they are just merged into that sorrow for longer and longer. They just keep lamenting for that, right? And but we have this knowledge, so even though in a particular situation immediately we may also have little lamentation, sorrow, but that by remembering this message of Bhagavad Gita, we quickly come out of that sorrow.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Very wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Okay, if no other question, comment, we will end it here. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.